So, continuing from the last session, in which we were discussing some of the important aspect of how to manage the cash flow, maybe the various techniques that are available. So, we have already discussed the some of these parts of the list given before you. That is forecasting the cash flow, frequent observation, managing invoices, management of account receivables, control of inventory, suppliers agreement, control of expenses, credit management, till here we have already discussed. That is the credit management. Now we move on to the next techniques of managing the cash flows. So here we have the credit management. That is the here credit management means that we must exercise caution while giving clients any credits in order to reduce the risk of non-payment. We must evaluate each and every uh, client, every supplier, every debtors before giving out the goods on credit, or before taking the goods on loan or credit, because if the credit worthiness is weak or poor, then it maybe in future there may be fault in transactions, and maybe the company suffers, business suffers, and therefore before starting the business and before getting into with the creditors or the debtors, we must set certain very clear and explicit rules, credit policies, so that if we make them follow in a way so that there are no losses in the transaction. Then next we have the item that should be emergency reserve. See, in the business, while we are doing business, there are so many things which are unforeseen. For example, uh, a fire breaks down in the factory premises, or there is a theft. In that cases, and immediately, first of all, there should be an insurance part that should be complied with, but at the same time there should be some reserves to meet these unforeseen contingencies. At the same time, not only unforeseen contingencies, but there are certain uh, losses which are expected to occur in future. For we must provide for those losses, so that we do not those we have sufficient uh, cushion to absorb those losses. So we must keep some emergency fund or cash reserves to cover the unforeseen costs or brief shortfalls in the cash flows. Um, Actually, the main idea is that your business should not be stopped because of lack of funds. As the principle, one of the principles in accountancy, it goes on explaining it is the principle of conservatism. What does this principle say? Conservatism principle says that we must think of all the losses that is possible to happen, and we must make provisions for them. We must have money kept aside for them, and so that at the time of that instance happening or that incidents taking place, we must have cushion money, uh, and let the business move on. So therefore there should also always be a place for emergency reserves, so that these cash or these unforeseen situations can be met out with those cash. Then next we have the debt management. Debt management here is that uh, we have to after making the sound policies regarding the credits, maybe we must determine and put into action the strategies to increase the cash flows. Cash flows, sorry, it is the debt management part. That is, we have to recognize the terms of credit lines and loans to help in order to help and manage the debt responsibly. Because here excessive debt will also be useless, or maybe a additional burden on the cost of the capital. So we must take debt only the amount that is required and which is fully utilized in the business in order to earn the income back. We have to steer away the excessive debt and make sure that loan payment match with the available funds with the business. If we have excess debts, obviously we are paying a cost to them, that is, we are paying interest on them, which must be avoided as far as possible in order to keep your costs within control. So, debt management has to done in a very efficient and smooth way. Next, we have the cash flow improvement initiative. We have to determine and put into action the strategies to increase the cash flows, such as expanding our revenue resources, renegotiating the contracts, and introducing the new goods and services. So that there is a cash flow, smooth cash flow. There is no crisis of money. There's no crisis of funds in between. And maybe here we have whatever we need to do, we must do that. Maybe renegotiating our contracts, or maybe if it is required, then we will have to put more goods into the market, new services into the market, so that we keep up with the demand of the market for our goods and services and keep the business going. At the same time, with the cash flow, we also have to manage the working capital. Working capital is actually the difference between the current asset and the current liability. Current assets are our those assets which can be easily converted into liquidity, and it deals with the money that comes after the day-to-day transactions. That fund should be available to meet the current liabilities, that is your regular course of actions that are required for doing the business. So we must try to optimize the ratio of current asset to liability in order to manage the working capital very effectively. With this will cover inventory or maybe bills receivable or debtors, and account payables management. That is, there has to be a balance between bills payable and bills receivable, or accounts payable and accounts receivable, etc., etc. This will keep our working capital on a very smooth term, and there won't be a shortage of it from time to time. Moving further to some of the techniques which we have already discussed in the previous session, we will move on to the next from credit management in this session. So let us continue to that. To start with the credit management. Actually, when we are giving out the goods to debtors on loan, or maybe on credit, and at the same time, maybe when we are taking the goods on credit from the suppliers, we are taking them from the suppliers, taking goods from the suppliers on credit. In this case, we have to first do good homework in understanding these debtors and the creditors in the market, their paying capacity, their that is, we must evaluate each creditors or each client's credit worthiness and his goodwill and his standing in the market. Because if we do not do that and we put our money in the wrong people, that is giving on goods on credit to the wrong people who do not have the potential to pay back, in that case maybe we will be running into losses. And therefore, while we are making making the transactions on credit, before doing that we must set all the explicit credit policies. Very clear and explicit credit policies must be laid down, so that our suppliers, our debtors, they all follow those rules and policies, and they do not become defaulter by any chance, because if they default, that will be hurdling our businesses. So in order to reduce the risk of non-payment, we must evaluate first each client's credit worthiness to in a proper way, understanding and learning about his reputation. And also we must set very clear rules, credit policies before getting into contract with these parties. Second is, the next item is that sometimes often we find that there may be some unforeseen contingencies in the business, or there may be sometimes unforeseen costs that occur. For example, maybe because of certain crisis in the market, we face a brief shortfall of cash flow, maybe, or maybe there are some circumstances that the market conditions are not in a favorable mood, more favorable swing, and we get the cash shortage in the business, or maybe there is some other unforeseen mishappenings takes place, some accident or some fire breaks down, and is in that time we need some funds or some money to just make up for those losses. In that case, it is very necessary that we have some emergency reserves maintained in the business from our profits, maybe on year to year basis, because this reserves which are maintained, emergency reserves which are maintained, they will act as a cushion at the time of need when there is a shortfall of the cash flows in the business. So this reserve is utmost required to keep things good and smooth and going. Another technique that has to be followed, it is the debt management. Actually, we must recognize the terms of credit lines and loans in order to help you manage your debt responsibly. Because if you do not understand the credit lines, or if you do not know how to follow the rules and regulation in order to pay back the loan, maybe if you lack that responsibility, then maybe you will be suffering in future transactions, because you are going to damaging your goodwill if you do not do things on time. And in order to remain clear of all the excessive debts, you must make sure that your loan payments must always be met, and to meet them, you must always have the available funds at your side, so that there is no delay in loan payment. See, actually, the thing is that uh, we always find that excessive debt is always harmful, because there are two reasons for that. The one reason is that the excessive debt is causing the costs of debt or cost of capital to increase without being used at all. For example, if you need just 1 lakh of rupees and you have taken as debt rupees 2 lakh, so your utilization capacity is just rupees 1 lakh, but the excess of 1 lakh you have taken, that will remain in the market, remain in your business without being utilized, and for this you will have to pay the interest also. So you are bearing the cost, at the same time it is lying as an unutilized fund. Therefore, this cash flow, this debt should be managed in a very, very proper way, and always you must be paying your loans on time, and whatever money is available or should be utilized optimally. After that, the next item is cash flow improvement initiatives. That is, we have to determine and put into action the strategies to increase the cash flow, as expanding our revenue sources. We have to renegotiate the contracts or introduce the new goods and services in order to just manage the cash flow in the best way. Working capital. Working capital is the difference between the current asset and the current liability, and we must be careful while managing the working capital, because actually the current asset should be available in the same proportion as our liabilities are there, current liabilities are there. That is, ratio is usually 1:1 or 2:1. That is, your current assets should be just double than the liabilities. Uh, uh, and if we optimize the ratio of current asset to current liability, then I think we can always manage our working capital in the most effective way. And therefore, this covers inventory, receivables, and the account payables management. That is all the amount of money that is to be coming, that is a current asset, that is any stock or debtors or bills receivable or accounts receivable. This all these include the money that is going to come back into the business, and with this money, once we are receiving this money, we have to pay back in terms of account payables, bills payables, creditors, etc. So this money has to be sufficient enough to meet these liabilities. And therefore, this has to be there. This has to be there has to be a smooth running or circulation of the money for managing the working capital in the best possible way. And similarly, there should be money for to meet uh, the unforeseen circumstances, any disturbance or downturns in the economy that can affect the cash flows. So our cushions and reserves should be maintained, and debt should be managed in such a way so that we do not suffer losses due to these drawbacks or due to these disturbance from time to time. Another technique, good technique, is to manage our finance or cash flow properly. It is to use the technology. That is, we have to use the technology. For example, maybe we have we must be using the financial softwares and financial management tools, which helps us to gain real time visibility into our cash status. Once things are on computer system, and we are just putting the data that how much money has come and how much money has been spent, it gives us the clear picture that what is the reserves, what is the excess of money that is kept with the business. So uh, our financial management tools and softwares, they give a very real time visibility into our cash status immediately and from time to time, and it automates invoices and reduces the procedures also, because once it is on, if you're using those latest softwares and latest accounting tools, that will help you to compute and get the figures in front of you, so that you know that what further planning you have to go for in order to run the business in a more smooth way. And the last is your expert counsel. That is, we must get advice, and we must consult the experts. Maybe the financial experts include your accountants, your chartered accountants, your financial consultants, because they help you to make sure that the cash flows management plans follow industry norms, and they are the best practices that you have adopted, or that those practices which will be most fruitful for you. So the businesses may sustain robust cash flows, weather economic downturns, and set themselves up for a long-term success by putting these methods into practices. So this was the exhaustive list of techniques which will help you to keep you safe, to keep you protected, and keep you on cushions at the time of disturbance. And maybe these will help you that your business sustains in a long term period. So these methods, and one thing more has to be done. It's not only adopting these techniques, we must also keep reviewing these techniques from time to time, and modifying your cash flow plans on a regular basis in response to the changing market scenarios, changing market conditions, and the organizational requirement also, because it keeps on changing with the passage of time. So after understanding that what techniques to be adopted to in order to manage the cash flows, we now move on to the next part, that is the cash flow analysis. That is, in order to make a good judgment, one has to understand that how and in what way the money is coming into the business and how it is going out of the business. This part has to be understood and recognized in a better way, in a good way, because and all recognizing it, if you just try to understand the pattern and the trend, you know, by just analyzing the situation from the previous years, uh, or previous data or another company, you will understand that what patterns and trend these companies or may follow. So we have to do this analysis from time to time, in order to avoid a sudden crisis of cash or money. So the following steps must be taken up in order to improve your accounts receivable, or maybe the sources from which we are going to get the money. So first thing that you have to do is, first thing to the that is, update and review the cash flow statement on a very regular basis. Almost maybe every week you check out that what is your cash flow statement, including that how and in what way your money is coming in and in what way they are spent out. After that, once you keep a check on this, you divide the cash flows into categories uh, on the basis of three activities, as we have already discussed in detail in the previous session. That is the financing activity, investing activity, and the operational activity. Because this will help you in once you categorize, this will help you to understand the situation from that specific angle. That is, whether it is the things are related to the financial activity or investment activity or the operational activity. After that, the third step should be to determine the times of high and low cash flows. That is, at what time you have high cash flow, and what is the time period when the company suffers the low cash flows, etc. Once you understand the trends, it will be easy for you to control them or maybe monitor them. And lastly, we must analyze how the decisions must be made by the company in order to manage those cash flows in a much better way, maybe, so that uh, we have to make decisions so that the cash flows are controlled and managed in a way so that they bring good profits to the business. This is the fourth step that we have to follow in order to manage our cash flows in a good way. There should be there is also scope for improving the account receivables. How do we do that? Actually, improving account receivable means it is the streamlining. It is to streamlining the collection procedures in order to hasten the, or maybe in order to quicken the cash flows inflows. And some following tricks can be employed to in order to enhance the accounts receivable. Let us see that what are those tricks or what are those tips. The first is, we can give clients precise and unambiguous payment terms and condition. That is, once you are selling on credit or you are buying on credit on the same time to both the clients, you must always give a very clear cut, very detailed payment terms and conditions, so that they understand before going into transaction. They must understand that what are the terms and conditions to be followed by each of the party, by both of the party, so that we have a smooth sailing throughout the business. Second, after this, you send out accurate and timely invoices. Your invoices must be sent on time. There shouldn't be delay on your part. Third, incentives for early payment should be offered to promote the timely settlement. Maybe, for example, suppose if I just make a policy that anybody to whom I am selling my goods, anybody who will be doing the payment on the spot, I'll be giving you 10% discount. That means for every sale of rupees 100, you will have to pay rupees 90 only. So that's a good temptation, that's a good motivation or incentive one gets in order to sell the product, or buy the product from our business. Then maybe we can also lay down some other rules also. Maybe we say that, okay, if you pay after 10 days, then your discount will be 5%, and if you give after 15 days, no discount at all, and if you pay after maybe 1 month, then maybe we will be charging some fees from you, or maybe you will have to pay some extra 1 or 2% amount as a fine or as a penalty. So this way, this will incentivize them to pay on time. There would be, and this will lead to timely settlement. After that, the next step can be create a methodological procedures for following up the past due payments. That is, we have to keep a check on the past due payments also, whether they were made on time or not. And then think about putting in place a mechanism for checking credit for new clients. That is, for the new client, how can you check them from, taking the goods on client? We have to make policies for that also, or develop a mechanism so that we can discourage the credit goods sold on credit for new clients, or we make them more stringent rather rules. And the lastly, another suggestion is that for efficiency, we can use the invoicing software. As we have discussed how to improve the accounts receivable, similarly we come to improving the account payable, which means the effectively managing the payment commitments in order to maximize the cash flow. That is, the better you pay, the better you pay on time, the total amount of money, it will be maximizing your cash flows, because the quicker, the earlier you pay down, the other will be ready to send you another sets of good, or fulfill your other set of orders. So therefore, it is necessary that we uh, uh, manage the commitment in order to maximize the cash flows. So for this, we also, again, there are some tips or some steps that can be used. First is strike advantageous condition for payments for suppliers without putting a pressure on your relationship. That is, some or the other, you convince them, you motivate them to make your payment on time. You know when you're paying them on time, the from the to the suppliers, then you will build on a good relationship. Otherwise, if you try to take advantage, you may spoil the relationship between yourself. Then benefit from supplier discounts, or for early payments, as you are in the previous case, as you were offering the discount, maybe the other party has also offered you the discount if you make an early payment, so you can have the benefit of that. After that, next is short payment according to the agreed amount parameters of priority. That is, uh, you have to be you have to pay it quickly and immediate, as soon as possible, according to the on time, on the as the whatever the agreed upon parameters are. And how and what amount has to be the priority amount, that must be followed. There should be well laid down, established, transparent and well organized account payable procedure also laid down, which is clearly understood not only by you but the people in the market from where you will be getting your account, where you have the account payables. There we have to have well is transparent and well organized account payable procedures, and for efficiency we must make use of electronic payment system because it is more quick. Obviously we do not waste time in visiting the office or visiting the place in order to go and do the payment. It is from your sitting behind your table, just with the few clicks of buttons you make the payment. So try to make use of electronic payment system. And also finally we must review and discuss the supplier contract on a very regular basis. And now what should be the steps to improve these accounts payable or inventory management? Inventory management means stock management. That is, we have to reduce the holding expenses, and our procedure problems of stock out or overstock. And how should we do away with the shortage of inventory or excess of inventory? Because if we have the amount that is required, it will lead to optimum utilization of the space as well as the technology to produce the goods. We do not need to overstock the commodities all the time. And some of the very important tips discussed here are: first is reduce the holding expenses by implementing just-in-time inventory system. Just-in-time means as soon as the products are needed, the raw material or the goods in process are required, they are further proceeded for the next stage, and we just buy them whenever we need, and we use them and we sell them, and once we get the money we again buy them. So this keeps a very smooth and uh, regular supply is maintained. Next is evaluate and next step after doing this, we must evaluate and modifying the ordering points frequently in response to shift in demand. Whatever there is a change in demand, first of all, we must remain very alert to the changes in the demand, because this change in demand leads to a shift in orders, and therefore if we are not up to date ourselves, we do not up to date ourselves regarding these market condition, these demand condition, maybe we cannot forecast the actual requirement that is expected from us, and therefore we must modify the ordering points very frequently in order to in response to the shifts in demand. Next is once you understand the market, you should try to precisely predict the demand. Maybe you use different forecasting methods, you use different scientific or statistical method in order to understand the market situation in near future. If the market is going to be going down or is it going to go up, so you have to take that. You can take, if you know this, if you have this comprehension power, where you can check and find out the market condition so that you can prepare and produce the goods accordingly. Next is review and improve the inventory turnover percentage on a regular basis. uh, Review and improve the inventory turnover percentages has to be studied or on a regular basis. That means that maybe every week or maybe every 15 days, because this percentage is going to guide us that how much will be the requirement will be in the future, and so that we can manage, we have to arrange accordingly. And at the same time, we must determine which merchandise is out of date or slow moving, and then think about discounting or liquidating it. And at the same time, finally, to prevent the delays, we have to establish clear channel of contact with our suppliers. So, Just to summarize, I would say that the proficient management of cash flow necessitates comprehending, maximizing, and tactically overseeing many components of the financial ecosystem. Cash flow analysis provides organizations with information about their financial health and better inventory, account payables, and receivable management to help all to make the cash flow cycle run more smoothly and effectively. And therefore, businesses can lower their risk associated with the liquidity, improve their financial stability, and set themselves up for long-term success by putting these measures into practice. So, effective cash flow management requires constant observation and adaptation in response to evolving conditions. We do this much today in this session. Thank you so much.